Well, how you doing there, everyone? It is meteorologist Terry Swails. It is the last day of July, and this is your weather briefing for Thursday, July 31st. And I wanted to start you off here with this picture, which was taken back on May 27th. This was Memorial Day. Look at those lovely ladies floating around out there on Lake Superior on ice. You know, this year Lake Superior did not ice out until around June 6th. That's the all-time latest for an ice out. And just like lemonade, when you throw ice into the Great Lakes or any body of water, it's going to keep it colder. And so with the ice not going out until June, water temperatures were already extremely chilly this year going into the summer. And then, of course, you throw in the cold temps that we've experienced most of June and especially July, and the waters have just not warmed up. Real cool conditions all through the Great Lakes. I saw on Monday a report from near Chicago, one of the buoys out there in Lake Michigan, where the water was at 58 degrees. That is the second coldest level ever on Lake Michigan this late in the season. The only other time it was colder was back in 2009. And that year and that summer keeps coming up in my analogs for the upcoming winter. We're going to touch more on that in just a moment. But up in Lake Superior, that's even worse. In central Lake Superior, the water temperature as of 2 days ago was at 41 degrees. And here we are pushing August. Man, you will not get me splashing around in that stuff. That's way too cold for my blood. Now then, let's get back to today. And this being the last day of the month, it is now fair to say that our average temperature is going to end up around 70.1 degrees in the Quad Cities, and that's going to make this the third coldest July on record. 1891 is number one at 69.2. And once again, there's that big number of 2009, the second coldest July, and that was in, again, 2009 at 69.3 degrees. So we're just a smidgen above that this year, and we're going to come in third place all time as far as coldest Julys go. And again, let's just take a look back at July of 2009, and you can see how the temperatures all the way from the Rockies down into the deep south and back to the northeast were running well below normal. That includes all of the upper Midwest. And let's just take a little look back here and see what our July has looked like. And this is very comparable to the graphic you just saw. All the cold very much concentrated over the Midwest and the central part of the nation. And once again, I bring this up because it turns out that 2009 was another pretty tough winter around the Midwest. Here in the Quad Cities, we had about 47 inches of snow, and our average temperature was 3.5 degrees below normal. And so there's no way to say that's the way this year is going to turn out, but for what it's worth, we do look at these analogs to give us a little tip-off of what things might pan out like in the winter months ahead. And I am expecting this to be a colder and somewhat snowier winter than what's typical here in the upper Midwest, and that is one of the reasons why, using that as an analog. Now then, let's get back to today's weather. And you can see that skies are mostly sunny around eastern Iowa and much of northern Illinois and Wisconsin. And what you can't see on here, though, is a little veil of haze out there, and this is some smoke from some forest fires that's been sweeping across the upper Midwest. So it is a little hazy around, but it's really not due to clouds. It's actually from some smoke a long ways away. Expanding the picture here, you can see the real deep moisture is really trapped down near the Gulf of Mexico in the southern tier of the United States, and high pressure is really locking that down that way. And as we go to our 500 millibar chart here, you can actually see the trough that's blocking the moisture coming into the Midwest. Got a nice stiff northwest flow going out there, and that's just suppressing that moisture way down near the Gulf of Mexico. But as this pattern begins to break down a little bit and our high pressure moves off to the east in the next few days, winds will gradually start turning more southerly, and we should get some warmer air back into the Midwest in the next week, and eventually some moisture to come along with that. But short term, this is the average temperatures for the next 8 days, the anomalies. So this is how much below normal, and you can still see that the cool temperatures will be continuing through the Midwest and much of the eastern two-thirds of the nation. We'll take this out then another week, and this is the 8 to 16 day period, and you'll notice the blues are not nearly as pronounced, and that's some of the warming that we're expecting to see in our temperatures here next week, and that should mean some highs back in the low to mid 80s, much more typical of this time of year. And with that additional warmth will come some moisture, and we'll get a front back into the Midwest. And it appears that a decent rainfall event will be a possibility. Right now, that's shaping up across northern Iowa, maybe into Wisconsin and southern Minnesota. Could be some hefty amounts up that way, on the order of 2 to 5 inches. This is what the Weather Prediction Center is forecasting. And again, this is going to shift around a little bit in the next couple, 3 days, but it does indicate definitely a trend towards wetter weather as we get towards next week, and warmer weather too. So that's where things stand today. Thanks for visiting T. Swails here and getting your weather briefing from us. And as always, roll weather and have yourself a terrific day.